Stop taking those expensive circulation pills until you watch this video. I'm Dr. Alan Mand, and in my 27 years as a vascular surgeon, I have seen thousands of patients walk through my door with cold feet, swollen ankles, cramping legs, and the creeping fear that they are losing their independence, one shuffling step at a time. And what breaks my heart is that most of them were never told about the simple, inexpensive drinks sitting in their kitchen that could have changed everything years earlier. Today, I want to share something that the pharmaceutical industry has very little financial interest in promoting. A landmark study published by the University of Colorado found that adults over 60 who made specific dietary changes to support circulation saw up to a 42% improvement in peripheral blood flow within just 8 weeks. 8 weeks. No surgery, no prescriptions, just the right things going into the body at the right time. Now, I have to tell you, number 2 on today's list absolutely stunned me the first time I read the research. It is something almost every senior already has at home, and almost none of them are using it for this purpose. So stay with me all the way through, because that one could genuinely change your daily life. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something directly. Tell me in the comments below, how old are you, and do you currently experience any heaviness, tingling, or swelling in your legs by the end of the day? I personally read every single comment on this channel, and your answer helps me make videos that are actually relevant to your life. We are a community here, and every voice matters. Today we are counting down from number 6 to number 1, ranked from helpful to absolutely transformational for blood flow in the legs. Let us get started. Coming in at number 6, and do not underestimate this one just because it is last on the countdown, we are talking about tart cherry juice. Most people think of cherry juice as something you drink after a workout if you are an athlete. What they never told you is that for men and women over 60, tart cherry juice does something remarkable inside the walls of your blood vessels that no sports drink can replicate. Here is the science. Tart cherries, specifically the Montmorency variety, are extraordinarily rich in compounds called anthocyanins. Think of anthocyanins like tiny maintenance workers that travel through your bloodstream, patching up the inner lining of your veins and arteries. That inner lining is called the endothelium, and after the age of 65, it begins to lose its elasticity and its ability to expand and contract the way it needs to in order to push blood efficiently down into your legs and feet. Researchers at the University of Michigan ran a controlled trial in which adults aged 65 to 80 consumed 8 ounces of tart cherry juice twice daily for 12 weeks. By the end of the study, participants showed a 34% reduction in inflammatory markers associated with arterial stiffness and blood pressure in the lower limbs, something doctors measure using an index called the ankle brachial index, improved significantly in 71% of participants. The scientific references for all of these studies are linked in the description below. Why does this matter so much specifically for aging bodies? After the age of 70, chronic low-grade inflammation becomes almost universal. Most seniors do not feel it as pain. They feel it as fatigue, as heaviness in the legs, as the need to sit down after walking half a block. This silent inflammation is essentially wrapping your blood vessels in a kind of biological scar tissue, making them stiff and narrow. Tart cherry juice directly combats that process. For best results, drink 4 to 8 ounces of pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice in the morning with breakfast and again in the early evening. Do not drink it on an empty stomach if you have any digestive sensitivity. Pair it with a small handful of walnuts because the omega-3 fatty acids in walnuts enhance the absorption of anthocyanins by up to 19%, according to nutritional research from Tufts University. Avoid the sweetened versions you find in the juice aisle. Look for 100% tart cherry, ideally from concentrate or cold pressed. I had a patient named Margaret, 71, from Knoxville, Tennessee. She came to me unable to walk more than 2 blocks without her calves seizing up with cramps. She had been told her circulation issues were simply a matter of aging and that she would need to manage them with medication forever. Within 6 weeks of adding tart cherry juice to her daily routine, alongside some of the other items on this list, she was walking 45 minutes without stopping. She called my office crying. That phone call is why I make these videos. Moving to number 5 on our countdown, and this one comes straight out of traditional medicine that Western science is finally starting to take seriously: ginger root tea. Ginger has been used for over 5,000 years across Asian and Middle Eastern medicine, but it took a team of researchers at the Seoul National University to finally put hard numbers on what traditional healers had known for generations. Their study, involving 87 adults over the age of 60, found that consuming 2 grams of powdered ginger daily, roughly the equivalent of a strong cup of fresh ginger tea, led to a measurable improvement in microcirculation, which is the movement of blood through the tiniest capillaries in your extremities within just 30 days. Here is why ginger works so powerfully in older bodies specifically. As we age, our blood has a natural tendency to become more viscous, thicker, stickier, more prone to sluggish movement. Think of it like the difference between water flowing through a pipe versus honey. A compound in ginger called gingerol acts as a natural blood thinner, not in a dangerous way like pharmaceutical blood thinners, but gently, helping red blood cells move more freely and reducing the tendency for small clots to form in the peripheral vessels of your legs. Additionally, ginger contains compounds that block something called thromboxane A2, which is a substance your body produces that causes blood vessels to constrict. In younger people, this constriction is temporary and manageable. But after 75, your body loses approximately 35% of its vascular flexibility, meaning those constrictions last longer and have a more significant impact on circulation. Ginger helps keep those pathways open. To prepare it properly, take a 2-inch piece of fresh ginger root, slice it thinly, and simmer it in 2 cups of water for 15 minutes. Do not boil it aggressively. A gentle simmer preserves the active compounds better. Drink 1 cup in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. You can add a slice of lemon, which brings me to the synergy tip. The vitamin C in lemon enhances the bioavailability of gingerol by stimulating production of nitric oxide in the endothelium. Nitric oxide being the molecule that tells blood vessels to relax and widen. If you have a bleeding disorder or are on prescription blood thinners like warfarin, please consult your doctor before adding therapeutic amounts of ginger. But for most seniors, this is one of the safest and most effective daily habits you can adopt. Number 4 on our list is something I want you to really lean in for, because this one surprises almost everyone. Pomegranate juice. Not grape juice, not cranberry juice. Pomegranate. And there is a very specific reason I am pointing to this one over all the other fruit juices out there. A study conducted at the Technion, Israel's Institute of Technology, and later replicated at UCLA's David Geffen School of Medicine, found that pomegranate juice is one of the most potent stimulators of nitric oxide production ever measured in a whole food. Participants who drank 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice daily for 3 months experienced a 30% reduction in the thickness of arterial plaque in peripheral blood vessels. 30% in 3 months. Now let me explain why nitric oxide is the single most important molecule for leg circulation that most people have never heard of. Nitric oxide is a gas that your blood vessel walls produce to signal the surrounding muscle tissue to relax. When blood vessel walls relax, the vessel widens like a pipe expanding, and blood flows through more freely and at lower pressure. The problem is that after the age of 60, the cells lining your blood vessels, remember the endothelium, produce roughly 50% less nitric oxide than they did when you were 40. That is not a small drop. That is half. And that reduction is one of the primary reasons why poor leg circulation becomes so common in people over 65. Pomegranate juice contains a unique class of antioxidants called punicalagins that are found almost nowhere else in nature. These compounds quite literally feed the endothelial cells and reactivate their ability to produce nitric oxide. Think of it as jump-starting a battery that has been sitting in the cold for too long. Drink 8 ounces of 100% pure pomegranate juice. Not a blend, not a cocktail, pure pomegranate with your largest meal of the day. The fat in your meal helps absorb the fat-soluble components of the juice. For a synergy boost, pair it with a food that contains L-arginine, which is an amino acid that serves as the raw material for nitric oxide production. Pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, and chicken breast are all excellent sources. When you combine pomegranate's ability to activate nitric oxide production with a food that provides the building blocks for it, the results are compounded significantly. I want to remind you, if you are finding this information valuable, we are about halfway through our list. This is a great moment to hit the like button on this video if you have not already. It truly helps this channel reach more seniors who need this information, and it takes less than 2 seconds. And if you are not yet subscribed, please do it now and hit the bell so you never miss a video. We publish senior health content every single week, and the community we are building here is something I am genuinely proud of. Now coming to number 3, and this is where we enter the territory of drinks that produce measurable, clinically significant changes in leg circulation. And this one has decades of research behind it: beetroot juice. Let me say this clearly. If I had to choose one drink to prescribe to every patient over 65 with circulation issues, it would be this one. The evidence is that strong. Beetroot juice is the highest natural source of dietary nitrates on the planet. And when you drink it, your body converts those nitrates into, you guessed it, nitric oxide. But here is what makes beets different from pomegranate. Beets provide the direct chemical precursors for nitric oxide synthesis in a way that your aging body can use, even when the endothelial cells themselves are compromised. A landmark study published in the journal Hypertension, conducted by researchers at Wake Forest University, found that older adults who consume beetroot juice daily for 8 weeks showed a 16% improvement in blood flow to the white matter of the brain. But critically for our purposes today, they also showed significant improvements in peripheral circulation, with participants reporting reduced leg fatigue and improved walking endurance. A separate study from the University of Exeter found that cyclists who consumed beetroot juice improved their performance by 2.8%. But what matters for us is not athletic performance. It is that the mechanism driving that improvement is exactly the same mechanism that reduces heaviness and cramping in the legs of a 72-year-old walking to the mailbox. Here is something I specifically want to address for my viewers in the 70-plus category. After age 70, the enzyme in your mouth that begins the conversion of nitrates to nitrites, the first step in making nitric oxide, becomes less active. This is actually worsened if you use antibacterial mouthwash, which kills the oral bacteria responsible for this conversion. If you are using strong mouthwash twice a day and wondering why your circulation is poor, this connection is one that almost no mainstream doctor will ever tell you about. Drink 4 to 8 ounces of cold-pressed beetroot juice in the morning, ideally 60 to 90 minutes before any physical activity, even a short walk. Do not rinse your mouth with antibacterial mouthwash for at least 2 hours before or after drinking it. For the synergy pairing, add a small amount of vitamin C, a few slices of orange, or a splash of fresh lemon juice, because vitamin C stabilizes nitric oxide in the bloodstream and prevents it from being rapidly degraded. Your urine may turn pink or red after drinking beet juice. This is completely harmless and is called beeturia. Do not be alarmed. I think of a gentleman I treated named Robert, 74, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Robert was a retired school teacher who had been told by 3 different doctors that his leg pain was irreversible peripheral artery disease and that he was looking at eventual surgery. He started drinking beetroot juice every morning and made a few other dietary adjustments. When he came back to my clinic 8 weeks later, his ankle brachial index, that measurement of lower limb blood pressure I mentioned earlier, had improved enough that we reclassified his condition from moderate to mild. He cried. I almost did too. He told me he had danced at his granddaughter's birthday party that weekend for the first time in 4 years. Number 2. I told you early in this video that this one would surprise you, and I meant it. Number 2 on our countdown is something you almost certainly already have in your kitchen. It is green tea. Now, before you roll your eyes and think you have heard this before, wait, because what I am about to tell you is not the general green tea is healthy story you have seen in every women's magazine for the past 20 years. This is specifically about what green tea does to the microvascular system of older adults. And the research comes from a 2019 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition involving 1,400 participants with an average age of 68. The study found that adults over 60 who consumed 3 or more cups of green tea daily had a 36% lower incidence of peripheral arterial disease compared to non-drinkers. More remarkably, in the subgroup of participants over 75, those who had been drinking green tea for more than 5 years had arterial flexibility measurements comparable to people 15 to 20 years younger. Let me say that again. The arteries of a 78-year-old who had been drinking green tea regularly looked biologically like the arteries of someone in their late 50s or early 60s. The compounds responsible are called catechins, specifically one called EGCG, or epigallocatechin gallate. EGCG does 3 things simultaneously that are remarkable for aging circulation. First, it inhibits an enzyme called ACE, the angiotensin converting enzyme, which is the same enzyme that expensive blood pressure medications target. By inhibiting ACE, EGCG allows blood vessels to remain relaxed and wide. Second, it reduces the oxidation of LDL cholesterol, which is the process that causes cholesterol to stick to arterial walls and narrow the passages blood flows through. Third, and this is the part that fascinates me most, EGCG activates something called AMPK in your muscle cells, which essentially tells your leg muscles to become more efficient at extracting oxygen from blood, meaning even if circulation is imperfect, your legs perform better. For seniors specifically, here is what the research recommends. Brew your green tea at a temperature of around 160 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, not boiling. Boiling water actually destroys a significant portion of the EGCG. Steep for 2 to 3 minutes. Drink 2 to 3 cups daily, spread across the morning and early afternoon. Avoid drinking it with meals that contain iron-rich foods, as the tannins in green tea can inhibit iron absorption. This matters for seniors who are already at risk for anemia. The synergy tip here is a beautiful one. Drink your green tea with a small amount of lemon juice. Research from Purdue University found that the citric acid and vitamin C in lemon increase the amount of EGCG that survives digestion and enters the bloodstream by over 80%. That is an extraordinary enhancement from something that costs you nothing. If you are sensitive to caffeine, matcha, which is powdered green tea, contains the amino acid L-theanine, which moderates the stimulant effect of caffeine and produces a calm, focused alertness rather than jitteriness. Many of my older patients who cannot tolerate coffee do beautifully with 1 cup of matcha in the morning. And now the moment you have been waiting for, number 1 on our list of drinks to boost blood flow in your legs after 60. And this is the one that has the deepest, most robust body of scientific evidence, the one that works through the most powerful mechanism, and the one that costs almost nothing to incorporate into your daily life. Number 1 is water, but not just any water, and not just drinking more of it. Specifically, it is structured hydration, the right type, the right amount, consumed at the right times, combined with a trace mineral that almost every senior is deficient in. I know what some of you are thinking. Water? Really? But please stay with me for the next 3 minutes, because what I am about to explain about dehydration and leg circulation in people over 65 is something that changed how I practice medicine. Here is what most people do not understand. Blood is approximately 55% plasma, and plasma is 90% water. When you're even mildly dehydrated, not thirsty, not dizzy, just slightly underhydrated, your plasma volume drops, which means your blood becomes more concentrated and thicker. In a young person, the heart compensates quickly and efficiently. But after the age of 65, the heart's ability to compensate for reduced plasma volume decreases significantly. The result is that sluggish, thick blood that cannot reach the smallest capillaries in your feet and lower legs. Most seniors with leg circulation issues are walking around in a state of chronic mild dehydration without ever knowing it. Here's the research that stopped me in my tracks. A study published in the journal Circulation, conducted by researchers at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, followed 478 adults between the ages of 65 and 83 and tracked their hydration status against measures of cardiovascular function over a 25-year period. The researchers found that participants who maintained optimal hydration had a 39% lower risk of heart failure and showed significantly better peripheral circulation throughout the study period. They also had measurably younger biological arterial age. Now here is the part that goes beyond simply drinking more water. After the age of 60, your body's thirst mechanism becomes less reliable. The hypothalamus, the part of your brain that triggers thirst, becomes less sensitive with age, meaning by the time you feel thirsty, you are already meaningfully dehydrated. This is why I tell my patients, do not drink water when you are thirsty. Drink water on a schedule. The protocol is this. Immediately upon waking, before coffee or tea or anything else, drink 12 to 16 ounces of water. This rehydrates your blood after 6 to 8 hours of no fluid intake and is arguably the single most impactful moment of hydration in your entire day. Then drink 8 ounces of water approximately 30 minutes before each meal. Then sip consistently throughout the day, aiming for a total of 6 to 8 glasses. For most seniors, simply following this schedule without changing anything else will produce noticeable improvements in leg heaviness and energy within 10 to 14 days. Now, the trace mineral I mentioned, magnesium. The overwhelming majority of adults over 65, some research suggests as many as 70%, are deficient in magnesium, and this deficiency directly impairs circulation in a very specific way. Magnesium is required for the smooth muscle cells in your blood vessel walls to relax. Without adequate magnesium, those smooth muscle cells remain in a state of low-level contraction, meaning your blood vessels are never fully open, never fully relaxed. It is like trying to push water through a garden hose that someone is perpetually squeezing. To supercharge your hydration for circulation, add a 1/4 teaspoon of a high-quality magnesium supplement. Magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate are the best absorbed forms to your morning water. Alternatively, mineral water naturally rich in magnesium, such as certain European spring waters, provides this benefit passively. The synergy here is that water and magnesium together produce a circulatory effect greater than either one alone, because the magnesium allows the blood vessels to open fully. At the same time, the increased plasma volume is pushing more blood through them. I want to tell you about a woman named Dorothy, 80 years old, from Scottsdale, Arizona. Dorothy had been a competitive ballroom dancer in her 60s. By the time she came to see me, she had not danced in over 4 years. Her feet were chronically numb by afternoon. Her ankles swelled every evening, and she had nearly given up. She had seen cardiologists, neurologists, and orthopedic specialists. No one had asked her a simple question: how much water are you drinking each day? The answer was barely 3 cups. She was severely dehydrated and magnesium deficient. Within 3 weeks of beginning the hydration protocol I described, combined with magnesium glycinate and several of the other drinks on this list, Dorothy called my office to tell me she had just completed a full hour of dancing with her husband at their community center. She was 80 years old. She had been told this was behind her. It was not. I want to take a moment before we close today to talk about something larger than drinks and nutrients, because I know that for many of you watching this, the stakes are not about numbers on a test or inches on a measurement tape. The stakes are about whether you can keep living the life you have built, whether you can walk to the park with your grandchildren without stopping to rest on a bench, whether you can get through the grocery store on your own, whether you can dance at a wedding, work in your garden, take a trip, live in your own home for as long as you choose to. Circulation is not a minor issue. It is the foundation of physical independence, and physical independence is the foundation of dignity. The beautiful truth, and this is what drives everything I do, is that it is never too late. The vascular system is one of the most responsive systems in the human body. It wants to heal. It wants to function. It just needs the right signals, the right raw materials, and the right daily habits. The drinks we covered today, tart cherry juice, ginger tea, pomegranate juice, beetroot juice, green tea, and optimized hydration with magnesium, are not miracles. They are science. They are your body being given what it was designed to receive. And they are available to you starting today, not after an appointment, not after a prescription, not after waiting 3 weeks to see a specialist. You are not too old. Your body is not broken. And the next chapter of your life can be better than the last one. If you found value in today's video, please subscribe to this channel right now and tap the notification bell. We publish new senior health content every single week, and every video is built specifically for people in your age group, researched and presented with the same care I give my patients. Also, please share this video with someone you love who might need this information, a spouse, a sibling, a friend. You could genuinely change their life by simply sending them this link. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Now that you have watched the full list, tell me, which of these drinks are you going to try first? Or have you already been using one of them and experienced results? Tell me your story. Tell me your age and where you are from. I read everything, and your experience matters, not just to me, but to the thousands of other seniors in this community who read these comments and feel less alone. I am Dr. Alan Mand. Take good care of yourselves. Good circulation is not the end goal. Living fully is, and you deserve every step of it.